lights lit this town like a fire in a blaze. Gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we're gonna let it away. Tonight, we're gonna let it away. Tonight, we're gonna let it away. Just like the sunrise, we're gonna let it away. Just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't turn back now. We know that there's no room for doubt. No, we can't turn back now. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we're gonna let it away. Tonight, we're gonna let it away. Tonight, we're gonna let it away. Just like the sunrise, we're gonna let it away.
Hey everybody, welcome in. Let me make sure you guys can hear me since I did a pre-recorded on here earlier. Let me actually just turn my camera off for a quick second. There we go. Yeah, we're good to go.
Just like the street lights
Let me
lit
turn
this
myself up
town
just a
like a
tiny
fire
bit.
in a
But
blaze.
welcome in
Gotta
everybody.
burn
It's
it
good to see you
down.
guys. Making sure
Can't
my
be
lights are
afraid
on.
to leave
If you guys
this
are ever wondering what
out.
I'm doing in the
We
beginning of the
got
live,
this
and
far,
because I
don't
never
know
look
how.
on camera,
I see
I'm on
danger in your eyes. They know
my
we'll
music
burn
isn't
down the
coming through,
night.
which is weird.
Coming
I don't
just
know why
like
it's
the
not doing that.
sunrise. You
We've been
know
having
that
really
we're
weird
gonna let it away.
this
Tonight,
tonight,
we're
but
gonna
I had
let
to
it
turn the
away.
iPad focus here.
Tonight, we're
Can you
gonna
hear me
let
perfect?
it
And you know
away.
what? Actually, I'll give it to you these things that listen to me. The song is called Light It Up, and it's by Robin Houston. I also have a different song for our videos, and then I have a different song for the other channel. And I like the song for the other channel. Well, yeah, oh shit. Sorry. I can't hear it. I'm so sorry. Sorry. Okay, I got those. Sorry. I didn't mean to click it. I didn't know I clicked it. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. You're like, she's leaving. She's out. Goodbye. That would be fun. That would be kind of funny if I did that. Is the music off now? It should be.
She's out.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. There we go. I just turned myself up, just echo it a little bit. I can't, I can't hear the music, guys. Like I really can't. So that could have been playing the whole live. I'm so glad y'all said something. I'm glad you said something because I literally would have had you guys listen to that the whole live. But that would have been great. That Willow would have been like, hey, I'm down for that. And hey, Ladybug. Yes, make sure you're on all messages like me, because I'm not. There we go. I'll get it together, by the end of the live. Hey, Catherine. Hey, Ladybug. How you doing? Did you have a fun time? Where'd you go to a party? Where'd you go? Oh, it must have been something. Just got in from football pasta party. Oh, that sounds like fun. I bet the food was delicious. I bet it was good. I bet it was a fun day. That sounds like a fun day. My mom was a sports mom, kind of. My brother played. Me, not so much. I tried everything. I feel so bad for my parents now looking back. I made them buy like all the good stuff too. Like I didn't let them cheap out on the stuff that I was getting, right? And I would try every single sport. Hey, Christy. And then I would quit them. Hey, kitsy cats. Hey, Laura. Hola, baby girl. Yeah. As soon as it started, like they were like, "We got to run." I was like, "Oh no, I can't do that." Hey, Cassie. Catherine, with your little hands like that reminds me of Steve with the little rock and roll hands. Hey, Tempest. Hey, Laura. How you doing? And I saw some of you guys were in the previous live, the premiere. I think you guys were coming in there today. Of course, as soon as I had the premiere go, the dogs needed to go out, and then I had to go, and I thought I'd be back in like a couple minutes, and it did not work. Hey, Cassie. Hey, PKC. Hey, Lenora. Hey, DM. It's a day to welcome everyone in. Some days we do that, some days we don't. Hey, Tumbleweed. Hey, Deborah. Sometimes we say hi to everyone, and we get on with it, but sometimes we want to hang out. Hey, Cat Ride. Thanks for letting me know. Hey, Tempest. Hey, Deborah. I don't know if I said hey to you. Is anything going on? Is anything going on the streets? I haven't been really on to be searching. Let me know. Really? The video is blurred? Oh, no. I'll have to redo it, maybe. That sucks. It was probably my internet. Well, I was on the dang internet. I should have stayed on my hotspot. So am I good now? I'm not moving anywhere funky. Okay. Because the internet looks good. We're gonna have to hardwire over. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Because the thing is, before we get started, I'll tell you the two sites that weren't working: StreamYard and Canva. Is someone trying to sabotage me over here? Like those are I don't get on like malicious sites, or I don't open malicious stuff to where it could have been like, any kind of, I can't think of anything like that happening. So I'm like, what's going on? So Vincent like overrid the system, like I guess our Wi-Fi was saying. He said it could have been like trying to block it from there. So he like told him it's a trusted site, he said. So hopefully we're good. See, because I'm good on my iPad. Maybe if you go out and go in, I don't know. I'm just trying to see if I'm trying to look over here to make sure I'm not stopping at like doing anything funky. But I think we're good. I think we're good tonight. I think we're good. So everybody, if you don't mind, hit the like button for your girl. She had it was a rough start there, wasn't it? Blasting music in your ears again. So the reason why I titled it this is Bryan and Incel. We've kind of went over this before. So everyone's probably like, why is she titling that like that? The Idaho podcast, the Idaho Massacre podcast had come out with a new episode, and I listened to it today when I was in Sam's, and it's about just that incel. So they have the two women that are always on there, Stephanie Lydecker, and I can't remember the other lady's name. And then they have Body Moving on there, and I like listening to Body. I think she has a good outlook on things. So I figured, but it's not moving. I don't know. Really, your internet went down as soon as my live ended? StreamYard in general has issues. Have you been having issues? Because I just big thing Canva. I was like, what the heck? But today it was good. I made a presentation on Canva. I did all the things, so we should be good to go. And I did a presentation for you guys, so we'll go over that, and then we'll go over. I found an old Airmail article. Didn't know that I was still subscribed to Airmail. Better stop doing that. That's expensive. But it was actually by another one. It was by a woman, not by Howard Bloom. So my dogs just came in, so they might come in here in a minute. just to let you know. But we'll go over that as well. So we'll go over a few different things tonight. And then if you guys haven't got on the Patreon and watched the Ellen Greenberg docu-series, I hope I have the first episode on there. Oh my, it's good. Y'all need to, after this live, run over there. Don't even walk, run. And, or get one of those really, those powered bicycles, because it's a good one. So that's crazy, because that's funny. That's my iPad's fine. Let me know if anyone else is having any problems, but yeah, iPad's good to go. So I figured we would go over, there is a little bit of news out of Idaho. There is a document to read. So I thought we'd start off with that. It's for Kara Laramie, Stacy Chapin, James Chapin, Maisie Chapin. So it's directed towards them. So we'll go see what that's about. And I can kind of tell you. Do you guys remember when we watched the hearing? They had a hearing in Idaho. There was, a couple families, as you can see who they are. They had a huge problem, and I don't blame them at all. They had a huge problem with, the crime scene photos being out and the gore that it showed, right? It was horrific photos. I saw them. I didn't put them on my channel, the pictures of the bodies and stuff. I didn't do that. And I never planned on doing that. So they kind of made the decision, even just better. I don't even got to make the decision now, because the judge is making a decision. Hey, Lynette, are you leaving Willows? Going back to watching in the bushes. Okay. So, it just says here, judgment is entered as follows, and it's for Karen Laramie, Stacy Chapin, like I said, James Chapin, and Maisie Chapin. And if you don't know who they are, Karen Laramie is Maddie Mogan's mom. Stacy and James are Ethan's father. That's Ethan's parents, and then Maisie's his triplet, one of his triplets. So, but then it's versus the city of Moscow, and judgment granting in part permanent injunction. And I did see on the Gonzalez's Facebook page that they were really excited about this as well. So maybe they decided, to set out on this battle, right? They've been at the forefront for like this whole case. Maybe that's why they didn't get, in with this. I don't know. I'm surprised more families didn't. I'm surprised all the families didn't. But it says, for the reasons set forth in the memorandum, decision granting in part plaintiff's complaint for permanent injunction, the city of Moscow is permanently restrained from disclosing photographs or videos without first blacking out any areas within those investigatory records that depict any portion of the bodies of the decedents or the blood immediately surrounding them. So they are still going to show, here, there, like probably, I'm sure, like there might be a photo that comes out and there's some on the wall. Let's just say, right? They may not redact that if it's not like directly right in the proximity to the bodies. But on this channel, we will do our best to not show anything that the families wouldn't want out there. So, is she? Look at that 12 months membership. Got your new titanium arm. How do you feel? Does it fit? Does it fit? It looks good on you. Thank you for being a member for 12 months. 12 months? Seriously, been that long? For real? For real? Let me know when you're off next. I'll give you a call. I miss talking to you. We've been on like a texting battle back and forth. And then I keep like saying, I'm going to text Is she back? And then I'll have like 20 of those stupid messages from everyone trying to give me money. They're not really going to give me money. I'm so excited that you've been a member that long. That's a long time. It's fabulous. Vincent just got a new, he just did the new arms for you guys the other day too. Look at that. 1 year. You ain't going nowhere, girl. I got you now. So I agree with this. I think that this should go through. There are some things that we don't need to see right now. Will I be upset a little if I don't get to see where the sheath was? A little, but I don't want to see. But then again, I don't want to see Maddie. So if it's like with me not seeing Maddie, then I'm fine. Then I don't need to see the sheath. But I just know that that would cut back and cut down on so many speculations that's out there, so many rumors that are out there, that the police planted this and that and this and the other. It would just be nice to see like the first responding officer that all blacked out. But if it wasn't, right there next to her, if there wasn't any blood, maybe they could show it. But there probably is. So 22 months DM. Look at that. Look at these milestones. 22 months. That's almost two. You've been with me almost 2 years, DM. Thank you so much. You and Ashley are racing. Ashley's, I think, is at 31. I'm gonna let my dogs in real quick. I'm just gonna mute it just so you don't have to hear them all running here like crazy people. Actually, I'm not even gonna mute it. You can hear them. You can hear the crazy. And then we'll start with the rest of the live. All right, come on, girls. Get in your beds. Get over there, Mia. Come on. Over there, Mia. Okay. We're Ryan will go that way. She'll go that way. She doesn't care. No, she does. I can step on the treadmill. I was like, I'm going to fall. Okay. They're in their beds. They're good to go. We're good to go. Okay. So that was the document. Now, I did do a little, some similarities and some differences between Bryan Kohberger and Elliot Rodger. There's not a whole lot of similarities. I did want to actually pull up one more, though. I gotta think. Let's see. Because I know that there was one more similarity, I think. I could probably just ask you guys these questions. You guys would probably know. Like I forget the sororities. Okay. So I forgot to write this one down, but that's okay. I'll just show it to you. Or I'll just tell it to you here in a minute. Okay. Let me escape and then go back to sharing that. I don't know why it does that. Okay. It's so weird. But I'd rather do it like this than do it where it's like scrolling. So similarities, I'm going to give this similarity since I'm thinking of it. And I don't think that I wrote this down. Actually, maybe I'll wait. Okay. So we're going to go through tonight the similarities between Bryan Kohberger and Elliot Rodger. As you guys know, Bryan Kohberger pled guilty July 23rd, 2025. He pled guilty to the murders of Ethan Chapin, Xander Kernodle, Kaylee Gonzalez, and Madison Mogan, earning him 4 consecutive life sentences without parole. And then he has the 10 years for the burglary charge. So even if, it never will happen. But tonight we're going to go over this and then we'll go over the podcast, like I said, and I'll put some visuals up of the podcast as well. Hey, Doodlebug. Hey, Kira. Is Kira in here? Oh, look at that. Hey. It's been a little while. Hope your job's going good. Okay, so similarities. And this one, I don't think I wrote this down, so I'm going to tell you guys. And if I did, then I did. But Kaylee Gonzalez was a member of Alpha Phi. I think that's how you say it, Alpha Phi. PHI. So Elliot Rodger, whenever he was on his spree, he on his rampage, that's the sorority that he killed the girl at. So he killed, I think, 2 women. Or no, wait. He targeted the Alpha Phi house. I'm sorry. He targeted that house. He didn't get in. So then he went over to the Delta sorority. The Elliot Rodger he was on one. He was ready. He was knocking on their door. And I don't know what told them girls not to come to the door, but something in their intuition told them not to go to the door. And thank goodness that they didn't, because if they would have opened the door, he would have killed them all. So, that is a similarity there. So the 2 sororities. Involvement in mass shooting targeting young adults. So they both perpetrated or were accused of mass murders involving college-aged victims. Kohlberger is charged with the stabbing deaths of 4 University of Idaho students. I don't know why it says charged. He's convicted. In 2022, that was my brain. While Roger killed 6 people, mostly University of California, Santa Barbara students in 2014 shooting and stabbing rampage in Isla Vista, California. I wish that Bryan would have had a manifesto of some sort, just so we could have some answers, like more answers than what we got, because we're not getting anything from him for a good while. Hey, True Crime Lullabies. Oh wait, you changed your name, True Crime Rewind. I like it. True Crime Rewind. Oh, I'm gonna get that so tongue tied, but I like it. So, connection to incel ideology and interest in each other's cases. Kohlberger reportedly showed a particular fascination with Roger, studying him as an incel hero and possibly drawing inspiration from his manifesto and crimes. Both have been linked to incel and voluntary celibate communities with themes of social isolation, resentment towards women, and perceived romantic rejection playing roles in their narratives. And we can go through them with Bryan. I mean, he tried to make more people be his romantic. I think he wanted more. Oh, I did miss it. Thank you. I'm not even, that was what? Oh, Doodlebug. I'm so glad. Thank you, Ladybug, for saying something. 24 months. Y'all, man, y'all are making my night. Look at this. Look at all these. 12 months, 22 months, 24 months. And then Kira with the $10. And she said, hey, Tanya, pup, say hello too. Oh, finally catching the night live. Surprised they're not sleeping. I know. I'm so glad you're here. That's what's like, how's your job going? Well, that's exciting that everyone's here. All the peeps are here. Mental health and social struggles. As young men, both experience significant personal turmoil, including suicidal ideation. That's more of Elliot Rodger. Feelings of dissociation and profound loneliness. Kohlberger wrote online about his mental health challenges as a teenager, while Rogers detailed his isolation and rage in his 137-page manifesto, My Twisted World. If you guys haven't read that, I wouldn't read it. It's just him pretty much just hating on women and men and the Chads and the Stacys. I didn't even know that was a thing. Sorry, guys. The Chads and the Stacys of the world, and I'm just like, what? Okay, sorry. I think my elbows needed some lotion in my arms. Planning and obsession with their crimes. Did I read? Nope, I didn't read the educational background, so sorry. They were both pursuing higher education in fields related to human behavior. Kohlberger was a PhD student in criminology at Washington State University with prior degrees in psychology and criminal justice. Roger was a college student at the time, though his studies were less formalized. He had taken courses in psychology and self-help seminars. Yeah, he wasn't doing that well in school. And his dad was some sort of like movie director or something. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. But yeah, so I think I actually have it written down maybe. So planning and obsession with their crimes. Reports indicate both meticulously planned their attacks over extended periods. Roger stockpiled weapons and scouted targets for nearly 2 years, while Kohlberger allegedly surveilled his victims for weeks prior to the Idaho murders using a knife in a targeted home invasion. Now, these are the differences. And like, I try to put them in like, just go with it. Just go with my flow. I was trying to make them into like little boxes down here, but so the age of their crime, these are differences. So Bryan was 28. His birthday is 11. So November 21st, 1994. We'll have to plan something special for ourselves to do that day. Elliot Rodger was 22 years old, and he was born actually, that's wrong. I have September. It was July 24th, 1991. I remember that. I don't know why I put 9 there, but I did. Family background. Koberger, raised in a middle-class family in rural Pennsylvania, by parents Mary Ann, who was a paralegal, and Michael, who was an architect, with 2 older sisters, described as a stable but unremarkable upbringing. Also, they did have, a couple bankruptcies. Not saying that there's anything wrong with that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. My parents had filed bankruptcy back in the day. But, they did have to do that a couple times. So I don't know if that made them like, I don't know if they ended up like recovering that. So then we have Elliot Rodger, who was born in a more affluent Hollywood connected family. Father Peter, here it was a commercial photographer and assistant director on films like Hunger Games. Mother was a Malaysian research assistant, had a half sister, and lived in transient privileged life between the UK and the US. So he was going back and forth. That would be a nice life. Going back and forth from the UK, from the US to the UK. It wouldn't be a bad life, would it? Wonder how long that journey is on plane. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they had a private jet. Could have. So the method of attack, stabbing with a knife in Koberger's case, and a targeted home invasion, off-campus housing. Elliot, shooting rampage with 3 semi-automatic handguns, stabbing and a vehicle ramming, targeted a sorority house and passerby in a public area. I forget who he stabbed, but I kind of want to look that up now because I don't know. I just don't see Elliot doing that for some reason. Because he just was such Koberger's a coward. I think he's a coward, but that is an up close and personal kind of murder. And I just can see Elliot being more of like a gun person. Hey, Mia, I'm over here trying to do a live. So, he did a shooting rampage with 3 guns and a vehicle and a knife. He used it all. I guess for those 2 years, he was like, well, what else can I use? So then the motive remains unclear. An Idaho case, explicitly misogynistic and driven by a rage over. Hold on, did I put those wrong? No, I didn't. Over romantic rejection, detailed in a 137-page manifesto and YouTube video railing against women and alpha males. So yeah, he put it everywhere. He put it on YouTube. He put it in a manifesto. He showed people by ramming his car into buildings, and trying to run over people. That kid had some serious problems. I don't know if he even, I don't even know if with help, they would have probably had to put him in house. I mean, his videos are something else. So in July, Koberger took a plea deal. This is the legal outcome that spared him from telling anyone that happened that night. And Elliot Rodger died by suicide via self-inflicted gunshot wound immediately after the rampage. No trial. Because they're cowards. At the end of the day, it's a coward move. It's just a coward move. Public persona, more reserved online presence, speculated anonymous post about Papa Roger account, but no extensive manifesto or videos. Wouldn't that be something if someone someone that could actually prove this, and this was a prove it thing, if Bryan made a video somewhere out there detailing what he was going to do. But I think if somebody would have found it already, I think Lenore, your birthday's coming up. Your birthday's Tuesday, Taco Tuesday. That's the best kind of birthday to have. Yeah, true crime, yeah. He I wonder how long it took him to write that manifesto. Highly visible digital trail with YouTube videos, forum post, and a detailed manifesto uploaded hours before the attack, glorifying his day of retribution. And I guess Koberger did have, like, a digital footprint. I mean, we've got his rap song. Forgot to put that in there. And I do have the lyrics to that because it's an awesome rap, you know? "Don't fuck with us." That's what he says at the end. Um, we have his studies online, like his research, surveys. We have him there was something else I was thinking about, now I can't think of what I was gonna say. I have no idea what I was gonna say, but there are some things that Bryan has put online. Oh, the, visual snow tap talk post, that's what I was thinking of. So, yeah, there's a few things that he's done that he's, you know you got that right, ladybug. It's coming up. Oh, man. It's Lenore, she's, "Yep, it's coming again." I hear that. Doesn't it seem like it was just, like, we just, like, literally just had birthdays? I do, I feel like that. Okay, so I'm gonna read through this, and I'm gonna try not to take too many pauses because it's a 9-minute read, but some of it, I'm like, I don't know. I thought we would read it again going back or like, at this point in the investigation because this was from February 18th, 2023. So this was right after they arrested Bryan. Um, and of course, you know, Airmail comes out with a post about it. And the post is Idaho, Instagram, and incels. Well, we think there's I don't know. I guess it depends on who you ask, but if you ask most people, they think there was like a connection through social media. But if you ask the police, they're like, "No, we didn't find any." So it just kind of depends on, I guess what you believe or I don't know. Until Koberger tells us. So, on Instagram, Madison Mogen showed us a certain kind of perfect life. Whatever struggles she may have endured before falling victim to a killer one night in Moscow, Idaho on November 13th. On Instagram, she is always smiling. Her account is like a prototype for what social media culture demands of a young woman and girls. That they look happy, sexy, occasionally pensive, and all above inevitable. Mogan 21 shows us the life of a pretty blonde American college girl, a popular sorority girl. She poses in formals and bikinis and the cutest outfits, as she describes them, often popping her foot or bending down, playfully touching her knee. She strides gaily into a building at the University of Idaho. In a post, she captioned, "Heaven is a place on earth." She visits Cabo and Jamaica with friends, many of them blonde young women who resemble her. "Lucky me, I have the best friends ever." Mogan captioned a picture of herself going jet skiing with two other blondes. Beautiful, cute, stunning, gorge. Her friends commented on her post, fulfilling their duty per social media conventions to comment enthusiastically and with many emojis. It's chilling now to think that Bryan Koberger could have been watching all this, seeing Mogan with her sweet smile and twinkling eyes, living her seemingly perfect life. You wonder if it made him angry, jealous. Was Instagram for him like a gallery of women to date or perhaps target for violence? Koberger, 28, formerly a graduate student at Washington State University, has been accused of killing Mogan and her roommates, Kaylee Gonzalez, 21, and Xana Kernodle, 20, as well as Kernodle's boyfriend, Ethan Chapin, 20, and he did it. Entering the girls' house around 4 a.m. and stabbing them to death in their beds, a story that Airmail contributor Howard Bloom detailed in this publication. Thought he wasn't writing this. In January, people reported that Koberger had followed the 3 female victims on Instagram and about 2 weeks before the murders messaged one of them repeatedly. He was definitely persistent, said an investigative source on the case. He slid into one of the girls' DMs several times, but she didn't respond. Basically, it was just him saying, "Hey, how are you?" But he did it again and again. Having a random guy slide into their DMs that's direct messages, wouldn't cause most women alarm. However creepy, it's now viewed as a regular feature of modern dating, with magazines and YouTube videos advising men on what types of messages to send in order to get a response. No way. I don't ever check. Like, you have to go to a separate inbox if you have like messages. I don't know. I never do. Most women will simply ignore the guy, which is what Mogan reportedly did. You wonder if being ignored made Koberger irate. The police haven't told us the motive in this case, but it seems like everybody has a theory. Women I've spoken to have said since the story broke that they believe the Idaho student murders were committed by someone who hates women, which unfortunately wouldn't be surprising. Femicide is an under-discussed problem in the United States, where nearly 3 women are murdered every day, most often by current or former intimate partners. In the Idaho case, it was the look of the victims that first raised suspicions that this was a hate crime. There was the fact that this happened in a house full of attractive girls. Chapin was just visiting, and the nature of the killings by knife, as the victims laid in bed, seemed like a horrifying substitute for R. I mean, his Google searches were, very creepy. Passed out, drunk, sleeping. Usually you only want girls like that for like one reason, right? You know what I mean? Like, and then Jennifer Koffendorfer weighs in right here. A former FBI agent, Jennifer Koffendorfer, told Newsweek days before Koberger was arrested that she believed the murderer was an individual with absolutely horrible murderous desires against these women and perverted thoughts and anger towards women in general. They're known as incels. Since Koberger's arrest, there's been mounting speculation about whether he qualifies as an incel. Incels, short for involuntary celibates, are heterosexual men who blame women for their lack of romantic success. Hundreds of online forums thought my eye was like really tricking me there. On hundreds of online forums, websites, and blogs in the so-called manosphere, they promote women hating and anti-feminism. They also tend to subscribe to the white supremacy, and their rhetoric is often violent. They sound like, fun, like a fun time. Over the last decade, incels have been tied to dozens of assaults and murders, as well as a couple of mass murders, including the 2018 attack by Alec Minassian. Where does he that says? Minassian. Then 25, who plowed a van into a group of pedestrians in Toronto, killing 11 people and injuring 15, predominantly women. The incel rebellion has already begun. Wow. Minassian wrote in a Facebook post prior to his attack, "We will overthrow all the Chads and Stacys." I don't understand the Chads and Stacys part. Are those supposed to be the popular kids? Do the popular kids usually have the name Chad or Stacy? In what? Like, where are we at here? Okay, because not when I was in school. I don't know what generation this is supposed to be for, but I mean, can we name something else? I just don't like that. In the lexicon of incels, Stacys are beautiful, typically blonde girls who deny incel sex. Incels believe it's their right to have sex with Stacys. Forget about what the Stacys want and hate them because they can't have them. They see Stacys as stupid and shallow because they prefer men who incels refer to as Chads, square-jawed jocks who enjoy great success with women due only to their handsomeness. You can see how an incel might have regarded the house where the Idaho victims lived as a veritable nest of Stacys. This was the house Koberger drove past at least 12 times as if doing surveillance, which police say they know from his cell phone records. What was he looking for when he repeatedly rolled past? Was he already planning an attack, or was he looking for a glimpse into what he saw as a golden world full of beautiful blondes and their popular clique? Kohlberger's apparent obsession with girls deemed out of his league goes back to an early rejection. In middle school in Broadheadsville, Pennsylvania, his heart was reportedly broken by Kim Neely, a future high school cheerleader. By all accounts, an overweight, awkward boy, Kohlberger would become relentless in his pursuit, repeatedly leaving love letters in her locker and telling her he liked her. She'd say, "Oh my God, leave me alone." And her mother, Sandra, her mother, Sandra, told the paper. Wow. They were in middle school when he started. She couldn't have just been, oh, no, because then he would have taken that the wrong way. You know what I mean? I would have never been able to be so like mean. If someone was like, okay, like if someone was leaving me stuff like that. I did have to like break a little boy's heart once. And that was in like 6th grade. And he was so mad. He kept trying to buy me stuff. And I'm like, stop buying me stuff. I know his name and I'll never forget him. He lives out in Hollywood now. He like directs like freaking TV movies and stuff. Like he's doing great. He's doing just fine. And I'm so proud of him. But in 6th grade, he'd bring me like these little like tie beanie babies. I think that's what it was. He brought me and I had to give it back. My mom was like, next time you go to school, you give it back. Like she was trying to help me, you know. So I can understand that. Being a little girl that, you know, breaks a little boy's heart. But like, I mean, you know, she didn't have to be so mean. There came a time and place, you know, you got to be mean. In interviews, former classmates say that Kohlberger was bullied by the popular girls in school. They literally tortured him, said an unnamed source. In his senior year of high school, he lost about 100 pounds, apparently in an attempt to fit in, turning himself into a frightening-looking version of Daniel Day-Lewis in The Age of Innocence. But this extreme physical transformation couldn't change Kohlberger's personality, which reportedly still felt off and now was becoming aggressive and mean-spirited, according to former classmates. In high school, Kohlberger reportedly started taking heroin to dull the pain of his existence. He later went to rehab and got sober. "I feel like an organic sack of meat with no self-worth," he wrote in an online forum when he was 16 in 2011. He developed a rare condition, visual snow. Why are people saying this, like he had this? It doesn't go away. It doesn't magically go away. Okay. So that would have been brought in at trial. If he ever had visual snow ever in his whole damn life of existence, it would have been brought in at trial. She said, oh, he couldn't have done this. He has visual snow. He wouldn't have been able to see the victims in the dark. Like, I mean, that would have been like a whole thing. Like, oh my goodness, right? If he genuinely had the visual snow and could have ran with that. She could have did like a relay race with that. Give me the baton, you know? He had home issues. That's what it was. Yeah. He had parent issues. Because he says when he was 16, this is my last Christmas being around my family and those I love or something like that. He wanted people to feel bad for him. That's all that was. It didn't work, Kohlbergs. Man, let's see what else. Where were we at? I'm just like, where were we at? He was mean. He was fell off. He was mean, aggressive and mean-spirited. In high school, that's when he did the heroin. Okay. And then it says he developed a rare condition, visual snow, which he said coincided with an increasing absence of emotion. Yeah, because that's what happens. You don't get anxiety or anything, right? When you're seeing dots all above your eyes, you don't get that. You just feel nothing. You feel like an organic sack of meat when that happens. Yeah. You don't want no help. You're not feeling the anxiety or nothing. No, just this is new normal. And yet, through his trial and tribulations, Kohlberger was apparently still harassing his female classmates. If he liked or was interested in a girl and she wasn't, he didn't understand why or just didn't accept her saying no and move on. Dominic Clark, who attended elementary and high school with Kohlberger, told the New York Post. Later, Kohlberger's reported misogyny extended to a locker room talk. There was a comment that he made, and it was kind of flippant guy talk thing. Benjamin Roberts, a fellow grad student at Washington State University, told CBS News, at one point he just idly mentioned, I can go down to a bar or club and pretty much have any lady I want. You know he was that creepy guy sitting in the corner of the bar, stirring his drink, just looking at everybody having a time of their life except for him. Yeah, I can see that. From everything we know about Kohlberger, this sounds doubtful. The bravado of a man who would like to be a player but drives a white Honda. Hold on. The bravado of a man who would like to be a player but drives a white Hyundai Elantra. Wow, that was hardcore. At Washington State, where he was pursuing a PhD in criminology, Kohlberger reportedly turned off his female classmates by mansplaining to them. That's crazy. Like, I mean, we've been here. This is from February of 2023. His peers and he rankled some people with a habit of over-explaining and sounded particularly condescending when he spoke to his female classmates. Oh. In the manosphere, incels like to talk about how they suffer from women disregard, never taking responsibility for how their own misogynistic attitudes and behaviors might be what's pushing women away. Another window into Kohlberger's apparent failure to connect with women is the story of Haley Willett, 26, who in January posted a TikTok about her Tinder date with Kohlberger 7 years ago, when she was an undergrad at Penn State, Hazleton, and he was probably living with his parents in nearby Albrightsville. So, Willett said Kohlberger kept trying to touch her, making her uncomfortable until she finally got him to leave, after which he messaged her saying she had good birthing hips. A small detail was, which should small. Oh my God, sorry, I can't read. Good birthing hips. It still gets me every time. Like, why would you ever think that that would be something that you would be like good descent, right? Not, it's good to meet you. I'm so sorry you were sick. Are you okay? Let me know you're okay. You know, I'm going to go ahead and go home. But, you know, text me, let me know you're feeling better. Because she pretended like she was throwing up to get away from him. You know, not, hey, I just heard you throwing up in the bathroom, because like he didn't know it was fake, right? You have good birthing hips. Like, that's gross. Hey, Crime Kitty. Hey, Mr. Rosebud. I mean, like, I want to do an experiment. Which one of you guys want to do this experiment for me? Who's going on the Tinder? We need to go on the Tinder. We got to have a guy do it, though, because he has to go on a date. And then he has to, well, you don't have to go on a date. Just talk to her for a couple of days. And then say you got good birthing hips out of nowhere. I just want to see what a regular person would say. I mean, you know. It says a small detail which suggests that Kohlberger may have spent time in the manosphere. Incels believe that women exist purely for their reproductive and sexual capabilities, according to the Southern Poverty Law Center. That's all we do. Uh-oh. Who's going to tell them? 11 days before the Idaho murders, according to the New York Times, Kohlberger had a meeting with the faculty members at Washington State University, which had been investigating his professionalism and his conduct around women in his role as a teaching assistant. Some female students reported that Kohlberger had made them feel uncomfortable. And if someone comes in here and says, you didn't say Mr. Kohlberger, we're not doing that anymore. Kohlberger. Including by allegedly following a female student to her car. He was fired in December. Incels like to be known for when they kill people or when they have a conquest like this. Dr. Carol Lieberman, a forensic psychiatrist, said on Court TV, on the night of the murders, the killer left his knife sheath on the bed where Mogan and Gonzalez had been sleeping. That knife sheath bears Kohlberger's DNA, according to police. But if Kohlberger was indeed the killer, you wonder how a grad student in criminology managed to forget his vital piece of evidence. Did he leave it there accidentally, or was it a way of marking his kill? If the killings were sexually motivated, then the sheath was akin to a discarded condom, proof that its owner was the one who had been there violating those popular, good-looking young people. That was very graphic. Before Kohlberger was arrested, a Facebook group devoted to discussing the murders was visited by a user who called himself Papa Roger. Some group members later noticed that the person with this username had guessed rather too accurately about the knife sheath being left at the scene of the evidence released. Papa Roger commented weeks before police released this detail, the murder weapon has been consistent as a large fixed blade knife. This leads me to believe they found the sheath. Some believe Papa Roger was Kohlberger himself, which would make his username a nod to his identification with incels as well as a kind of brag. Elliot Rodger was the name of the misogynistic terrorist who killed 6 people and injured 14 others in Isla Vista, California in 2014 when he was 22, before turning a gun on himself. Rodger is a hero to the Incel movement, which is the U.S. Secret Service's National Threat Assessment Center, has identified as a growing domestic terror threat. Through his murder spree and his online manifesto, yeah, like they claimed him. Like, did Elliot ever come out and say, I'm an incel? I never heard him say that. Did he ever say that? I think they just took him up under their wing. Maybe Elliot didn't want to be hanging with y'all. Maybe he thought he was better than y'all. Maybe he thought he could get those Stacys. And if not, maybe he could get the chats. I don't know. But it's like they they just took him up. They were just like, oh yeah, he's cool. He just killed what, 14 people, 6 people and injured 14 others. He's with us. I mean, look at this. Yeah, it says right here. Rodger became the incel king. All hail the supreme gentleman. Elliot Rodger. Oh my God. The supreme gentleman. Yeah. Real gentleman like to shoot up 6 people and and 14 others. That's a gentleman. I know. Is she? I'm about to change my name to Stacy. Just because. Stacy and Chad. Those names were like popular probably a few years before me or after me. One of those, probably before me. Yeah, like a couple years before me, there was a couple Stacys. I don't really know a lot of Chads. DM. Me too. Peru's waiting. I mean, that's fine, I don't even see the comment now, but I saw it like right on my I must have it on different chat I think it's a different chat that comes in on your StreamYard. It is. That's weird. Okay, I didn't even know that. Oh damn. I've been on here for 3 years. We are haunted by the last photo Gonzalez posted on Instagram just hours before she and her roommates died. There is Mogan's. I'm glad she posted this picture. Like I don't know. It's a really beautiful picture of them. You can tell that they all loved each other, this picture here. There's even a picture they took. I forget who's in the picture. It might be like Ethan. No, I don't think it's Ethan and Xana. I forget who it is. It's maybe like Bethany and Dylan or somebody. But you can see in the background of the photo that Kaylee's bending down so that Maddie can get on her shoulders because they're getting ready to take this picture next. And it was just like, it's just a sweet picture to see, It says let me see. There is Mogan smiling, sitting on the shoulders of Gonzalez. They were like sisters inseparable since 6th grade. There are Kernodle and Chapin embracing. Whoever killed them killed 4 people with loving connections, the type of connections Kohlberger never found in life and conveyed and others. Sorry. The senselessness of it is infuriating. Is that why we've become so obsessed with this story? And yet many other murders occur that are as shocking and deserving of our attention. So why the Idaho victims? Could it be we're as obsessed with Stacey's as incels are? No. Dead white girl, holy grail of podcast, remarks BJ Novak as a cynical podcast. What? As a cynical podcaster in the movie Vengeance. That's kind of weird, outgoing. But could it be that we're obsessed with the Stacey's as incels are? It says dead white girl, holy grail of podcasters or podcast. Remarks BJ Novak as the cynical podcaster in the movie Vengeance. I don't know. Well, they never asked her to come and like write on this one again. This lady, I forget her name. Let me see. I'm gonna go to the top. Who wrote this? Nancy Jo Sales. Never heard of you, but that's fine. No, she ain't kidding. Kira's like, I'm slightly intoxicated. You're in the right spot. You're in the safe place. You're in the safe zone. I actually am the safe zone for people that drink. I used to get them all comfortable and stuff. I'll tell you what, when I was in college, I would have probably given my right arm for a pillow some nights, right? Just a pillow. It was like wherever you slept is where you slept. Wherever you laid just wherever you fell, right? And so then I had like girlfriends that would come over. They always wanted to come to my house because they were just like a little bit younger than me, and they were in that partying stage still, and I wasn't at all. I just wasn't. And I would always make sure they had a pillow, blanket, bottle of water, and a bag beside them in case they need to get sick. Don't even gotta go to the bathroom. Got you. I got you. Call me if you need me. So yeah. Thanks, Kira. Let me know what they say. And don't maybe not don't do it in person because they might swing. They might swing at you. But make sure you ask. I'd love to know. Okay. Now we're gonna go to the Idaho podcast. So we've been listening to all of these. We've been doing this for a while. This is, I think, their second or third. This is season 7, but they had some other. They had the Pike Dam Massacre podcast on here as well, which we started that and then we didn't finish it. I feel like we should go back. So I want to listen to it. Why not listen to it with you guys? Why not? Okay. So this is the Idaho Massacre podcast. If you guys are interested in this and if you like the episode, we can always watch. There's a few more of the Incel type of episodes that they have covered. It's just on a different podcast. So I will put some, and this is like a subscriber edition. I don't know what that means, but I'm a subscriber, I guess. And how long is this? I wanted to know. Okay, 25 minutes. It's only 25 minutes long, so it's not too long. I'm going to put up some pictures. That way we can see what we see. Okay. And let me play this. Okay. So actually, is this all the way at the end?
You get your.
Yeah, it sure is. I was in the line trying to get my pretzel today at the Sam's Club. It's horrible. Okay. Like I said, they're going to talk about incels, kind of like just what we kind of went over, but they'll go more in depth. Hey, Reba. So and if anyone wants the article, like let me know. I can paste it into the chat as well. And I'll put up some pictures for us to look at. I don't have any of Elliot Rodger. I didn't want to download of any of him. Because if I take any, or if I put any more up, I have to take more of my Idaho ones down, and I'm not ready yet. Like I'm not ready to delete any of their pictures off of there. So even Coburg's, because I might need them, but I really don't want to delete any of the victims. Hey, Tracy.
He spent a lot of time by himself, isolated and online.
Yeah.
Elliot Rodgers, he was good looking.
Yeah. So if you're just now joining us, we did go over, we went over the documents that came out about, for the Chapins and for the Mogans, and just, saying that they weren't going to release any crime scene photos that have the victim. I mean, they'll release them. They're just going to blur everything out. They said that they're going to blur out the victims, which I'm fine with that. And they're going to blur out the blood immediately around them. She said that was her exact wording. And I think she worded it like that because there may be someone on a wall or on the floor, and maybe they don't catch every little piece right, and it gets through and they don't want to get sued. Which, I mean, I'm surprised. Really, I mean, I'm gonna have to look into this more, because like the First Amendment and stuff, because where was like this for Gannon Stout? Like, and all the kids, like all the kids should have this. This should be like mandatory. You don't get to see kids, So welcome in, everybody. Hey, on topics, and welcome in, Casey, and welcome in, everybody. Okay, I'll put up some pictures and we'll listen.
And smart and interesting, and he had a good personality and all of these things, and yet he couldn't get a date. And he decided at some point to blaming all women for his problems.
This is The Idaho Massacre, a production of KT Studios and iHeartRadio. Season 3, Episode 7, The Incel Theory. I'm Courtney Armstrong, a producer at KT Studios with Stephanie Leidecker, Allison Bankston, and Gabriel Castillo. On July 23, 2025, Bryan Kohberger was sentenced to 4 consecutive life sentences for the brutal murders of Madison Mogen, Kaylee Gonsalves, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. For many, his guilty plea felt like a long-awaited end to a nightmare chapter in Moscow, Idaho. But for others, the closure was bittersweet. They still carry unanswered questions and anger. One of the most striking omissions was that Bryan Kohberger was never required to explain himself. Prosecutor Bill Thompson did not demand an allocution, meaning Kohberger never stood in court and stated why he committed these unspeakable crimes. He offered no insight, no apology, and no explanation. And so, the question of why still looms large. What could have driven him to do something so heinous? What was the motive? One theory that has circulated is that Bryan Kohberger may have been an incel, an involuntary celibate. That's someone who feels rejected, especially by women, and who sometimes channels that rejection into rage and violence. Could Kohberger have targeted one of the young women he murdered because of this mindset? Is there real weight to this theory, or is it a label that's too easily applied? And perhaps the biggest question of all, what does it actually mean to be an incel? To help unpack these questions, we turn to sociologist Dr. Michael Kimmel. He's a leading expert on men's studies and masculinities. He joins us to explain what the incel community is, what it isn't, and how it fits into the larger conversation around Bryan Kohberger. He's joined by our producer, Allison Bankston.
If you can just tell me a little bit about your career and your background, how did you find kind of your niche in gender studies?
Well, my PhD is in sociology, and I was a sociology professor for many years. And swirling around the academy was, feminism, was women's studies. And it was just, it was too compelling and too important, I think, to ignore. And I realized early on that there really weren't very good studies, research done on men as men. There was a lot of stuff happening for people, by which they interviewed men, and then there was work on women. But there wasn't anything that really addressed masculinity or gender and how it affected men. So in early 1990, I decided I was going to write a history of the idea of masculinity in America, which had never been written. That was my first book, Manhood in America. And then from then, I've worked on young men, ages 16 to 26, in a book called Guyland. And most recently, my work has been on what I called angry white men. Why are white men so angry? Why are they so resentful? Why do they feel like they're such victims? My book, Angry White Men, came out in 2013, and the word incel hadn't been invented yet.
What is the manosphere? For people who don't know or never heard of it before, can you tell me exactly what that is?
Well, the manosphere is a general term for that part of the internet that has been appropriated by and colonized by a large number of men who use it as a platform for exploring some things that are, good things, like how do you be a good father, to a place where they can air their grievances about their own victimization. The manosphere tends to be very white, somewhat middle and working class, and it tends to be, on the whole, angry. Now, the manosphere in general begins, I think, the beginning of the manosphere as a place where men will come to air these kinds of grievances, begin with what was called Gamergate in the mid to late 1990s. And Gamergate was basically an effort by young male gamers to keep women out of the gaming environment, because there were suddenly all of these multiplayer games. There were these online games. People were gaming live, and the guys thought that this was like part of their life. And when all these girls started, becoming gamers, They really resented it. They felt it was like an invasion of their space. So the manosphere was an attempt to sort of say, okay, we're going to build boundaries. What the word incel stands for, involuntary celibacy, incel. And it means that you haven't had a date, you haven't had sex in perhaps a long time or ever, and that's not by your choice. It's not like you're saving it for marriage. It's not like you are waiting for Miss Right. You want to get laid and you can't.
Do you think he had a crush on Ann Taylor? Or do you think he looked at her like more like a mom? Because I was thinking more like a mom, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe not. I think he was fooling her for a little while. I think that in the beginning, I think she might have thought that he was really actually innocent. But I think once she was like, okay, what's your alibi? We got to get you an alibi. He was like, oh no. Well, okay. But we could say this guy did it. You know, I think that she knew then. But I mean, she got paid a lot of money.
Now, whose fault is that? When you listen to guys who claim to be incels, it's not their fault. It's the fault of women. Here you have all these women, thanks to feminism, thanks to women's liberation, all these girls wearing really tight clothes, really hot, really beautiful, throwing it out there and just inviting you to come on to them, and then they turn you down. Whose fault is that? It's their fault. Because you see, men don't see. So the involuntary celibacy is I'm not getting. Whose fault is that? And they blame the women. Women are, sexually agentic. They have their own voice. They know what they want. They just don't want it with me. And clearly that's their fault. I'm plenty nice. I'm good looking. I dress well. I'm trying really hard, and they still turn me down. What's wrong with them? Now, once upon a time, you would answer that question not with what's wrong with them, but what's wrong with me. One of the great things about the internet is it provides instant community for people who feel isolated, lonely, etc. And so you might have been, just sat in your bedroom and, be grumpy. But with the internet, there are other guys going, yeah, I get you, bro. I completely understand, man. I know what you're feeling. That happened to me too. And you have a bond. You have a community of self-perceived victims.
I mean, can't you go to like Pilates or something and find friends? I mean, I don't know what guys do. Like go find a football team to play on or something. Oh, I didn't see that. I just seen it just now, Reba. Oh, thank you. That's so nice. Thank you, Reba. Oh. And I was thinking wasn't going to get nothing in the mail for my birthday. The other day I checked the mail. It's like a month from now. And I thought there was a card in there for me. It was a credit card. But it wasn't the good kind. It was like a PayPal card. It was like, you know what I mean? So it was just kind of funny. Thanks, Reba. I'll be looking forward to that.
One of the most persistent questions that has surfaced is whether or not Bryan Kohberger could have been an incel. Does his background and behavior fit the profile of someone drawn to this community? And if so, what would that mean about his mindset, his motivations, and the way he saw the world? To help us break this down, here's Stephanie Leidecker, joined by crime analyst Body Movin'.
We know that he belittled women. He treated female students worse than male students. He called one woman a bitch at Seven Sirens Brewing Company after she rejected his advances. And if I remember correctly, he got booted from that bar for that.
Yeah, he would have got booted by me. If he would have came into any restaurant or bar that I worked in and said some stuff like that,
We don't know of him having many girlfriends. We also know that in high school, there were reports made on him from fellow female students, basically saying that they were uncomfortable in some way. And again, we've tried to find more information about that. Those files are sealed, and respectfully, we move on. But look, this is somebody who tracks. He was spending a ton of time online for an extended period of time. Obviously, COVID adding to this, but here he goes off to university and again seems to have a chip on his shoulders when it comes to actually dealing with any women at any time.
Specifically, the Idaho State Police reports about his interactions with female students at WSU. He was dismissive. He said things like he wouldn't date broken women.
And to that end, once he had gotten to university where he was studying to become a criminology doctor, he was getting his PhD in criminology. And during that time, students reported, specifically female students reported, that they did not even want to go to office hours to deal with him on any level because they felt, frankly, unsafe. Even so far as to say they would walk to their cars accompanied by somebody because they were afraid Bryan Kohberger might start walking out with them and they wouldn't know how to get rid of him. Listen,
Like, why didn't they just say, bruh? I'm sorry. You guys can't see my face, but when I just said bruh, I just had like this weird look on my face. I mean, when I was their age, okay, maybe not that age, 28. Yeah, when I was like, yeah, 28. Let's just say anytime before Vincent. I was gonna been like, yeah, if someone bothered me, I'd be like, you're bothering me. Like, bro, why are you following me? I would have been, you know what I actually would have done? This is totally the God honest truth. I probably would have reversed it Uno on him. Like, so instead of him coming to my office at 4:45, I would show up at his office at 4:40, right? I would do one over on him. So, and then when he decides he's done with the conversation, because I would talk his ear off, I would follow him out to his car, just like he had followed me out prior. I would do the same thing to him. That's probably because my dad used to be like, play pranks on people. And I would have done the same thing. I'd have been like, oh, that you didn't like that. I didn't like that. I'm going to do it to you.
and he lacked social cues. We can cough that up to a lot of things. Either he was just always the odd kid who was bullied and left out of the club and learned to resent that. Because look, ultimately, Bryan Kohberger, by his own admission, killed 4 extremely loved and popular students who seemingly had it all. They had fun lives, they had many friends, they were going big places, and Bryan Kohberger didn't like it. There doesn't seem to be any real known connection between the Idaho massacre victims and Bryan Kohberger. Their light was so bright that he had to dim it himself.
Like I said before, in talking with that other female WSU student, she said that he would not date broken women. He idolized women that he held in beautiful standards, right? Like the Kayleys and the Maddies and the Xanas of this world who
They're too young for you, bro. You're 28. These girls just hit 21. Some of them aren't even 21. Xana was 20. Bryan, those are not girls that you should be attracted to. You should be attracted to girls in your like maybe graduate study, maybe at school, your school age girls, maybe a little older.
are literally beautiful, right? Wouldn't if there was some kind of defect with you, he didn't want anything to do with you, right? That's kind of the impression I got from reading those ISP reports, and that's very incel like, okay? And he would say things like, what did he say about procreation? Like,
Remember, there was that handicapped girl that there was somebody who was handicapped, air quote, or somebody who was disabled. And he straight up asked, would you even consider procreating because your condition? And just think about that. Who says that out loud? And we know now that many reports were made against him and that he gave people a really bad feeling. And I think that's the takeaway. Number one, we know for a fact that Bryan Kohberger, who seemingly was obsessed with the notion of crime, he was literally studying what he has now been convicted of, but he didn't seem to get on with women. He spent a lot of time by himself, isolated and online. And that's, I think, the important piece of this. One person can be both things at the exact same time. Somebody could present very smart and articulate and clever, as he must have. And then on the flip of that, you know full well that there is hate brewing within him, and that hate turned to murder. And the reason that we're even discussing this is that we need to better understand where this dark web can take you and how a person can actually be radicalized.
yeah, and the definition of incels is involuntarily celibate. And I do believe that Bryan Kohberger was involuntarily celibate, okay? So by definition alone, he is an incel, but the incels that we're talking about congregate online and they talk to one another and they get deeper and deeper and deeper into that rabbit hole of self-loathing and self-pity. And I just don't see Bryan Kohberger being online, being able to effectively communicate with other people and being radicalized in that manner.
Let's stop here for a break. We'll be back in a moment. Just because Bryan Kohberger may not have been radicalized online doesn't mean he couldn't have picked up this information about incels elsewhere.
Was Bryan Kohberger's brutal murder of 4 college roommates inspired by this monster?
I will slaughter every single spoiled, stuck-up, blonde slut.
Elliot Rodger murdered 6 University of California, Santa Barbara students in 2014 with his arsenal of knives, pistols, and his car as a weapon. 22-year-old Rodger was an incel, an involuntary celibate, and is seen as an icon by other incels.
You never showed me any mercy, and so I will show you none.
Kohberger studied Rodger's rampage for his criminology course at DeSales University in Pennsylvania.
Here again, sociologist and masculinities expert, Dr. Michael Kimmel.
Elliot Rodgers is sort of a touchstone figure among incels. He felt like he had done everything right. He was good looking and smart and interesting, and he had a good personality and all of these things. And yet he couldn't get a date. And he began to blame women. He went down that kind of very, very dark path to blaming all women for his problems. And he decided at some point that he was either going to have to kill himself and take as many of them with him as he could. His suicide note was all filled with his entitlement, like, you don't give me what I want kind of stuff. But he didn't call himself an incel. He was just angry. He took it out on women. He blamed women. But incel culture embraced him as a kind of, that's, he did what we all think about, right? And what he thought of, what he did was he got even. That's, I think, a key here is that incel, there may be a motive in some cases to get even. I don't just, get mad, I get even. They hurt me, I will hurt them.
At DeSales University, Bryan Kohberger and his classmates studied the case of Elliot Rodger. Rodger is the 22-year-old who, in 2014, murdered 6 people and injured dozens more near UC Santa Barbara. Some classmates remember Kohberger seeming strangely indifferent to the horror of the rampage. Rodger was later embraced by the incel community, and that connection has led some to question whether Kohberger's studies of Rodger may have played a role in his own crimes. Here again, Stephanie Leidecker and crime analyst Body Movin' to break this down.
Bryan Kohberger participated in learning about Elliot Rodger, and by some accounts, he seemed extremely unfazed. So does that mean he was discounting this incel ideology, or was it just something embedded in him and he didn't give it too much thought? We do know that Bryan Kohberger had a hard time meeting girls, had multiple women file reports against him, both in high school and at university. This seems to be a pattern
in the incel community. I do know they claimed Elliot Rodger, so he is their hero, he is their saint, Saint Elliot, etc., etc. His manifesto included ideologies that he agreed with. But we don't know if Kohberger was actually inspired by Elliot Rodgers, if he followed him closely even after learning about him at DeSales. Just because he seemed like unfazed by his crimes doesn't really prove anything. We don't know if he was on any incel websites like 4chan or like Incel IS or any of those radicalization pipeline websites. So even though it's an interesting theory that he could have been inspired by incel idol Elliot Rodgers, we just don't have any concrete proof.
I mean, listen, it's in the conversation. Bryan Kohberger, his arrest, this lone wolf, why would he possibly want to hurt the lives of people who had so much ahead of them? Because he was radicalized potentially online. Now, again, that's wildly debated. We are not labeling him an incel, but that conversation only continued further once he was arrested and awaiting trial. Once he confessed and he didn't even have to allocate, we're left kind of putting our hands in the air, not knowing the final outcome.
We asked sociologist and masculinities expert Dr. Michael Kimmel for his thoughts on whether Bryan Kohberger could be considered an incel, and whether the incel community might claim him, much like they did with Elliot Rodger. He's joined by KT Studio.
No, no one can claim it. No one's claiming anybody anymore. What the heck is up with people? If something ever happens to me, don't let anyone claim me, like, other than Vincent, like claim me if he needs to from somewhere else, but you know what I mean? Don't let them be like, "Oh yeah, she was with us," because you know what I mean? I'm not with nobody by myself except for Vincent and the dogs and the cat.
His
And you all.
producer, Allison
I'm here with y'all.
Bankston.
A lot of people have suspected he could be an incel. He didn't have to, when he pled guilty, he didn't have to give an allocution. So people may never know why he did what he did. And we're forced to kind of come up with theories about what his motive could be. And he was known to be a sexist. A lot of people think, why target 4 innocent people he had no connection to? A lot of people are thinking, oh, he had to be an incel. That's why he killed these people, because it doesn't make sense. Why else would it make sense that he'd target 4 innocent people, a really popular guy and then 3 beautiful girls? What do you make of this theory that, Bryan Kohberger could have been an incel? How do you respond to this theory that's kind of been floating around for the past few years?
It could have nothing to do with being an incel, or it could have everything to do with it. We don't know. And in the absence of any kind of information from him, I hesitate to develop a kind of theory about it. And there's no evidence that he ever visited any of their websites, participated in any of their chat rooms, none whatever. My feeling about this is that within the culture, now let's be really clear about this. 99% of people who might consider themselves incels never act on it around women. They go to these places in the...
I would think that these guys, if they're like getting into these like incel groups, wouldn't that like make them feel a little better about themselves? So maybe they wouldn't want to hurt people. Like, like having somebody that's like, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I guess it could pump them up even more though. It just depends on, I guess it just depends on the person. Just like every community, there's, the good with the bad.
Manosphere, in some ways, I'll put this in quotation marks, harmlessly, to seek support and comradeship and community with others. But they're not going to act on it. And I don't think there's any reason to suspect that Bryan Kohberger acted on those feelings for those reasons.
Do you think incels will try to claim Bryan Kohberger like they did with Elliot Rodgers? They see this guy who was sexist, reports have come out that he treated women horribly, that he had a hard time getting a girlfriend, that he just kind of seemed like that incel type, reclusive, frustrated with women, graded his female students much harder than male students, just all kinds of reports like this. Do you think that the incel community could see Bryan Kohberger as their next Elliot Rodgers?
If I were part of the incel community, I would be very wary of people assuming that he was an incel just because he was a man and he killed women. And he killed young, attractive women. It wasn't just that he killed women, randomly. So I don't know. I think I would remember that the overwhelming majority of incels, people who would even describe themselves as incels, would never even remotely think of acting on it like that. Never, would not cross their mind. They're very content to be in their internet, in their online community, talking to each other, supporting each other, and supporting each other with this misguided idea that it's women's fault. But so if I were
but they're still not getting any. So how would that make them okay? I don't know how that, I don't know anything about this stuff. But I'm just like thinking, I'm like, well, they're still, wouldn't that, like, that's the part of their brain that's like, they're going, well, they don't like me. They won't, be with me sexually and all this and that. I don't know. You would think that they would, even if they had the community, they would still be a little mad about that. But I mean, I hope they all form a bond and kumbaya all together, as long as they're not hurting anybody. And don't gotta talk about women like that.
In the incel community, I would not claim him, especially in the absence of any evidence that he was one of us. And secondly, I wouldn't want him to be imposed on us simply because he was a guy who killed women. So I would be very wary of it. I don't think that they're going to embrace him the way that Elliot Rodgers was very clear, very descriptive about who he blamed and why.
And how can we stop incels? How can we intervene before someone decides to join a community like this? Can people who see someone who they think, could adapt to these ideologies, how can they jump in and stop them from joining this community?
Well, there's some data that connects a lot of these different issues, because one of the things that psychologists have found that basically encourages resilience among young people is and especially this is for young men, what would predict their resilience? What would predict their ability to navigate these kinds of lows in their lives, this depression, unhappiness, this loneliness, this feeling like you're not getting what you want? And the two of the things that they suggest, one is a good male friend, not a bro, but a friend, someone you can talk to about your feelings, someone you can talk to who validates you, that I get you, bro. You're still, you're really a man. It's okay. You'll be fine. It'll happen. And also a good female friend. I would be willing to suggest that large numbers of incels have very few female friends who they can really talk to about their feelings. The world that they live in is largely a
Yeah, what female wants to hear these Stacys won't give me any? So F them. Like what?
fantasy about what
Tell
women's
me
lives are
more.
like, that all these women are so hot and they're so sexy and they're so available, but just not for me. I think that's pretty much a fantasy, and they don't really get to know girls as friends and other guys as real friends. So real contact, real friendship may be one of the therapeutic antidote to the kind of despair and loneliness that many incels feel.
Let's stop here for a break. We'll be back in a moment. Here again, Stephanie Leidecker and crime analyst Body Movin'.
I've talked about this a lot. I've talked about why we continue to look for explanations into the behavior of Bryan Kohberger, because I believe it's too scary to face reality. And the reality is he's the literal boogeyman. Okay. We can't control him. We can't put him in a category, right? If we could put him in a category like, say, incel, then we can explain it and we can monitor that and we can stay on top of it and stay safe, right? But Bryan Kohberger isn't fitting any of these categories we're trying to put him in. And that's scary. He's the literal boogeyman.
It's so true. And by the way, without having this conversation in a meaningful way, we don't know what to look for and how to prevent another Elliot Rodger or another Bryan Kohberger from causing mass destruction yet again. And listen, not all white men are murderers and serial killers, obviously. However, the incel community is really, it's the young white man who's spending way too much time online, and they're getting radicalized online without anybody knowing. Kohberger sure does check a lot of the right boxes. And yeah, for sure, there are some that he does not. But again, we have to be looking at what could be a very scary reality. The new boogeyman is the young, disenfranchised white boy living at home without a job with too much time on his hands.
The question of whether Bryan Kohberger was an incel still looms large. Some believe his treatment of women and his obsession with power and control fit the pattern. Yet without any direct evidence that he identified with the community, we're left with a haunting void. Still wondering why he committed the brutal murders of Madison Moken, Kaylee Gonzalez, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. To learn more about the incel movement, check out our new podcast, Incels, on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcast, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Okay, let me get all this stuff down. Let me get me big again. Okay. It takes like a lot to get everything down. It's weird. Okay. So, that's all I got for you, really. That's all I really got for you. Let me see. I was over looking to see if there was anything on Twitter, but I don't think there is. I mean, you never know when you go over there. You never know what you're going to see. Oh, look at this 15 seconds ago, but it's in Spanish, so I can't really tell you what that is. Idaho judge. Okay, we already read that. We already know about that. Bars the release of photos. I thought it was going to say that they're getting out. Maybe we will get more photos now. Like maybe there's like more than just crime scene, like, like in their rooms, but maybe there's more photos of stuff that, they were going to show, but they were waiting. Like, how they cut out part of the wall in Maddie's room. I'm kind of curious about that. Like why they cut that out. We may never know, but we may know. It's going to be about like that time soon to start like unfollowing all these Idaho places because I follow like everything that's Idaho. But it looks like, let's go to the latest. The judge, just like we said, you know, you never know. So I'll look, but I don't think so. I think they're all just like retweeting the same post. Did you know that Dr. Phil, he did like a 3-part series on this case? It came out like a month or so ago. I think it's on YouTube too. I don't know who that is. But that's like really sad picture. Who is this? Oh my God. It's a book. It's a freaking book. Inside Bryan Kohberger case. This isn't the Bryan Kohberger case. I've never, ever seen that. Ever. I've never heard it called that before, ever. Mr. Casey and Creed is your name. Okay, we're going to share this. No ratings yet. I'm about to give you one. I'm about to give you a 1 star, but I'm not going to do that because I didn't read your dang book. I might read it though. Find our books on Amazon. Look at okay, so there's another book out, but look at the candles. They're like burnt, like they're blown out. I don't like that. That just makes me sad. It makes me really sad seeing that picture. Oh, I didn't put it up there for you guys. Let me put it up here for you. Sorry. I didn't show y'all. I don't know why it keeps going to like my stage. I think it's a setting actually. I don't know how to I don't know how to fix it. I'll have to figure that out. So yeah, I just feel bad about the little candles. It says with AI. Does that say or does that say A.I AI? Are you kidding me? Are you saying you did this? Is that who's this person? With A.I AI. Or I mean, I if we're just doing books with AI, I could do one. I could do one too. I'm gonna put that in A. You know what comes up? OpenAI, which is ChatGPT, pretty much. Oh, thank you, Casey. Unknown number, the high school cap. I'm gonna write that down. I can't. I don't have a pen. Oh, I'm in front of a computer. Use your tools you have in front of you. Like I could just put it in here. I need to start remembering that I could do this. I'm a like a pencil paper kind of gal, you know? Because I know that the show Catfish, it just went off the air and there was like some stuff about that. Hey Lee, how you doing? Yeah, Betsy, I want to see this sheath too. That's what I said. Blurred out, yeah. I would like to say I would like to see the sheath at the scene for the first officer. Like I would like to see that. But if it's too close to Maddie and there's like, you know, biological evidence all around it, then I understand why they don't want it out. You know, I totally understand, you know, why the parents don't want that stuff out. I just wish that we could have got that for like, we can get that for the kids, you know, around here. Really? Is she? Oh, I bet. They tried to get me one time with that. And I said, you got to run that through your system. Again, that's all me, baby girl. And it was all me. This was back like in 2010, I think, or something before all that like stuff. And I used the internet, but I don't even remember using the internet. Like I did, but I didn't. I don't know how I did. I'm about to. Oh, okay. It's a documentary. Yeah, like I just want to. I just would like to see the first officer on scene find the sheath, so that you know some of these people could just stop with that. You know, like saying that it was planted. Which I mean, you know. I think I'm too old for ChatGPT. I've used it a couple times, but not like you can use it like really well. Like you can put it down to like, do this, and this and this for me. Like I've seen other people do that, but I'm not very good at that. But if you guys have not watched, Kendall Ray. I like Kendall Ray. Is that who did it? Okay. Okay. If you guys haven't watched, I'm gonna find out about this book with AI. Neural Edge public. I don't know that publishing place. The Knife. What's this? STH DNA. They used a SNP profile. What is STH? What the heck is H? What the heck? Seriously, I don't know what STH is. It's not. They used SNP. And then they used an STR like analysis, I believe. Or is it, short tandem repeat analysis. Remember? STR. Someone go tell them they need to get their cover done again. I don't know how to get to the background. Oh gosh. What's this book called? The Idaho Murders, DNA, Silence, and Motive. Okay, now I just forget what I read. DNA, Silence, and Motive. It's not showing me the back of it. There's a lot of books. Why does this one look different? This James Patterson book looks different. Okay, because his is American Tragedy, and this one's The Idaho Murders, Uncovering the Tragedy That Shook the World. Is this like a different book? I don't even know. This one's 400 pages. I don't know. Hey, Pearl. Right, Pearl? Yeah, no. That's why I'm like, don't say I'm AI over here, because nothing I do is AI. I can't. I'm not good at AI. I'm not good at that stuff. Plus, you'll know. Oh, this one is this one's this one here. See how this one's different? Oh wait, actually, I've never looked inside my book. But it doesn't look like that. This one has a little penguin on it too. And it's a different name. The other one is the Idaho Foreign American Tragedy. This one's the Idaho Murders, Uncovering the Tragedy That Shook the World. Is this a new book? A different book? That person got their name wrong. That's definitely different. Yeah. Should we get it? Do we need to buy that? Oh, wait, hold on. This is from we don't want to go for this company. This company doesn't look like it's like. Oh, wait, it's under Book Hero. It's under Amazon. Yeah, it's on Amazon. The Idaho Murders, the Unputdownable true crime story from Sunday Times bestselling thriller author. It's only $10.99, but it says what's the E? The E is I don't know what the E is. You guys tell me. But that's what it is. Okay, that's weird. I don't know. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's where you got ours. But yeah, no, this one's, but it's not sold. It's just sold by Amazon Media. Yeah, the price was set by the publisher. Well, okay. And has James Patterson, the author, right there. Is this really him? This looks like him. Yeah. All of his books are there. Oh, I guess we're going to have to just check that out. Oh, it is self-published. So is it like hit? I mean, because I know he did it with Vicky Ward. Is it like her copy or something like she gets the proceeds from? Does that make sense? Yeah, and where the unknown caller, I think that's on YouTube. Kendall Ray, I think they said. It has the co-writer, the same one. James Patterson and Vicky Ward. Yeah, it has the same two people. Oh, are you having a little dream back there? Hey, Riley. She blowing bubbles. That's what it sounds like. Well, maybe it's like her book. I don't know. I don't know how that works. I guess you just split the proceeds, right? Or maybe she gets like 40%, he gets 60%. Because I mean, he is James Patterson. I used to read his books all the time. I don't know why I quit. Oh, that's a downer. I quit reading like books when I lost my eye. Like I read books here and there, but I love books. Like that's all I used to do is read. When I was a kid and a teenager, my mom thought there was something wrong with me at times. She's like, "You want to sit and read?" Yes, I do. But sometimes the books are a little hard to read. But if I read them over the computer to you guys, it's not too bad. Oh yeah, the reviews. I have to go back because I went to his page. It has 4.4, 4,000 ratings. We should get it just to see if it's the same book. I don't know. Oh, really, Pearl? Oh. I know. I like collecting books though. That's the thing. Like I like collecting them, even if I have to read them like over the computer. It's just there's something about a book, where there really is. There really, really is. I've read a lot to you guys over this case. I've read how many books? 3 or 4 Idaho books, I think. But sometimes it just makes my eye a little, I get a little tired. But I thought about putting like right here. I don't know if it would be in Vincent's way though, because his desk is right here. I thought about putting like 3 bookshelves. And then putting some like different colored books up there. I thought that would be kind of cute. Like books that like you guys get me and stuff. Cause like you guys have gotten me books. I know True Crime Lullabies got me in a couple books. I could put them up there and like display them. So I thought that'd be kind of cute. Cause if I put them over here, you guys can't see them. And I already have stuff over here anyway. So there's not really any room. There's no room. There's room here. I've been talking about this wall. It's like this big. Literally, it's like maybe this big. So it can fit like a picture. Just this one book? Okay. Oh, thanks, Betsy. I appreciate it. I do pretty good reading to you guys. I think this last book, I was getting a little tired. Like, I think that maybe made my eye tired. I think it was this last one. I feel like it was this last one because then there was like documents or something that came out right afterwards. And it was like, oh, like, uh-oh. It was the book because we were reading the book and then I was planning on going back through the timeline with you guys right before trial started. And that's what we were doing. We were starting to go back over all this stuff for trial. And then we got our world rocked, Yeah, we can. I made chicken and sticky rice. And girl, that's my jam. That is my favorite Asian cuisine. That's not Asian cuisine, but I consider that Asian cuisine. Vincent can make the best teriyaki chicken. I'm telling you, he cuts it into the smallest little bites because he knows I'm like a kid and they look like perfect little squares. I don't know how he does it. I can't do it. I try. I can't do it. So I don't get it very often because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It takes him like a couple hours. It seems like he's out there cooking. So maybe he'll do it for my birthday. Maybe we'll do that. But thank you guys all for being here tonight. I appreciate it so, so, so much. yeah, I'm gonna jump off here. I'm gonna get the dogs ready for bed, and it looks like they are ready for bed. This one's back here. There's the brown one. You can see her. You can see her little collar. Oh, you can't see it very much, but very well. But it has little maple leaves on it, and they match my fingernails. Some of the maple leaves do so. And she has the same collar. Someone walked by us today, or someone went by and they rolled down the window and they're like, "We love your Weimaraner." I'm like, "What about my other dog?" It's like saying you have one pretty child, but you don't talk about the other child. I had to tell Raya she was a beautiful girl. But no, she is. But thank you guys for being here tonight. I appreciate it so much. Ishi, call me if you're off tomorrow. I made a doctor's appointment. I want to tell you about it. Maybe you'll be able to help me. Maybe you'll be able, she's a nurse. Maybe she'll be able to help me out. Yeah, and I want to talk about Austin Drummond, stupid freaking weirdo. I knew, like, I looked it up not too long ago. It's probably been like his case, probably a few days, but I knew there was something I was missing, and that's what it was. That's what it was. So thank you guys all for being here. I appreciate it so much. Be safe. Lock your doors, lock your windows. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit the like button. Those things will help protect you tonight. I mean, if you subscribe and you like the video, it'll put like a barrier over you. But thank you guys all for being with me tonight. I do appreciate you. I'll be back tomorrow. I may have a pre-recorded out again tomorrow, and so just look for that. And then I don't know if I'll be on tomorrow night, but I will have a pre-recorded out for you, and I may be on tomorrow during the day. So just check for me, and I will see you guys all then. Bye, guys.
Just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't